Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Summer-like heat returning today thanks to our flow coming out of the south. I'll show you how many days we'll see highs in the 90s.
Up for debate, state lawmakers are addressing the death penalty and disaster relief today. How legislators are tackling crime while trying to work out a deal on the budget.
Searching for a link. The Trump administration is connecting Tylenol to a heightened risk of autism. How doctors say it is much more complicated than that. Good morning, everyone. It is 8 o'clock. We're hoping to get your Tuesday off to a wonderful start. Certainly on our way there with this beautiful sunshine out there. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Ken Smith. A comfortable start. Boy, is it going to warm up. Let's get back over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, the WRAL Weather Center, tracking it all for us.
Let's take a live look at Durham to start with. And we're seeing mostly sunny skies, a little bit of high, thin cloud cover out there. But as Ken said, it's a comfortable start this morning. 62 is our temperature in the triangle, and we're mostly in the upper 50s to around 60. Our dew point is sitting at 60, and so that's also a comfortable dew point. Typically in the summer, when we see day after day with highs in the low 90s, the dew point is also in the 70s. And so it just feels oppressively muggy. You've got a heat index to deal with. That's not going to be the case today, tomorrow, or Thursday. We're going to keep that dew point relatively low. So it'll feel more comfortable, especially today. 55 in Roxborough, 64 in Fayetteville, low 60s in the Triangle. We're going to keep it in the 70s all the way up until lunchtime. At noon, we hit 81. So it'll be a quick warm up to 90, and then we cool back down rather quickly as well. The tropics are pretty active out there right now. A couple things that you need to know that are starting to develop coming up. Ken?
8:01, Elizabeth. Things are really beginning to clear up nicely on to the east of Raleigh. We're talking about those Highway 87 lanes coming in out of Knightdale this morning. You can see just yellows showing up. But really and truly, once you get off I-87, you get onto the northern loop of the Beltline, you see quite a bit of a slowdown between Capitol Boulevard and Six Forks Road. I'll keep an eye on that and let you know how much of a delay you'll be looking at, because this is what's happening right now on I-87 and those southbound lanes around Smithfield Road. There in Knightdale, you can see it's beginning to get jammed up again. Right now, you're looking at a 7-minute delay, just a 10-minute delay if you're coming in from US 1 out of Wake Forest. If you're coming in from Apex this morning on US 1 North, you're looking at a 7-minute delay. Now, over in Durham, the real troubled spot is I-885. You're looking at a 6-minute delay if you're going into Durham this morning. That's backup starts around TW Alexander Drive. Now, if you're using I-885 to get to I-40 this morning, you're looking at a 12-minute delay. So you might want to use an alternate route like 55, maybe Davis Drive. Might be a couple of alternate routes for you coming in to the capital city or even Durham this morning. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Crews were sent out this morning to check on train tracks in Raleigh after a car crash. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker on Noel Road near Hillsborough Street. You can see an SUV being loaded onto a tow truck after it crashed near the tracks. Raleigh police say there were no serious injuries and a train was not involved. Crews cleaned up the debris on the track. We're still trying to find out what caused the crash. Happening today, state lawmakers are trying to work out several key bills at the state capitol. Members of the House are expected to take up a budget approved by the Senate. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live in Raleigh this morning. And Kelsey, one of the big pushes from lawmakers is funding for disaster relief.
Yes, Renee, a spending plan for $100 million. That's the big discussion topic for House leaders here at the Legislative Building this morning. Now, this is just a mini budget. Lawmakers still have not agreed on a larger comprehensive budget. The Senate passed the bill unanimously yesterday, but it's likely to face some opposition in the House. Republican House and Senate leaders are at odds over budget details. This bill would provide $65 million for Hurricane Helene and Tropical Storm Chantal relief. It also proposes $35 million for new development at the Lenovo Center and other projects. Senator Phil Berger explains how the funding could be used at the Lenovo Center.
There are some transportation issues that need to be addressed as a result of some of the development that's been authorized by the Centennial Authority, and that's what that provision deals with.
We'll be sure to keep you updated as our NC Capitol team stays on top of what's next for this legislation. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Also, the State House of Representatives also expected to take up several bills that address crime. Some of them are in response to the stabbing in Charlotte that left a Ukrainian woman dead. Irina's law would make it easier for judges to keep suspects in jail or committed to a hospital if they have a history of criminal behavior or mental illness. The original crime bill had support on both sides of the aisle, but a last-minute amendment from Senate Leader Phil Berger proposed to reinstate the death penalty. Most Democrats left the floor in protest.
That just led to a complete eruption among the Democrats, who felt it was an unfair move for him to make, that it was politicizing what had been some bipartisan agreement on this, and they said was just politicizing the tragedy of her death.
The House is expected to meet this morning. Check the WRAL.com website for updates on which bills are sent to Governor Josh Stein's desk.
Vice President J.D. Vance will visit North Carolina to talk about public safety after Zaruska's murder. Vance will be in the Charlotte area in Concord tomorrow. His talk will focus on public safety. This will be his first official trip to our state since becoming vice president. Now, coming up in just a few minutes, some North Carolina lawmakers are pushing to end Planned Parenthood status as a Medicaid provider. Details of that new bill and the response from Planned Parenthood coming up.
Happening today, President Trump is meeting world leaders in New York, where he is set to speak at the UN General Assembly. The White House says he will tout U.S. strength, but it is unclear if he will say anything about the war in Gaza. At this point, around 80% of UN members are in support of a Palestinian state. This recognition is largely symbolic if the U.S. is not on board. Israel opposes a two-state solution. President Trump is also expected to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky today as well. Speaking of the president, he also plans to speak with Democrats on Capitol Hill this week to try to avoid a government shutdown. Sources say Minority Leaders Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries could meet with Trump on Thursday. Democratic leaders say there have not been any negotiations with Republicans to avoid a shutdown. The deadline to reach a deal is October 1st.
Doctors are reacting to the Trump administration announcement about Tylenol use during pregnancy and a possible link to autism. President Trump and Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made the connection at the White House yesterday. They are strongly recommending that women avoid using acetaminophen during pregnancy. Now, we spoke with a psychologist who says the largest study to date found no causation between Tylenol or acetaminophen and autism. Only a few small studies suggest a slightly increased risk. Medical researchers warn the causes of autism have long been complex.
It's been clear that there will not be a single cause of autism, that autism is likely caused by a combination of genetic and environmental factors. We don't actually know if the potential link between Tylenol and autism is because of infection or fever during pregnancy.
In a statement, WakeMed says the use of acetaminophen continues to be a safe option for pain relief during pregnancy. The CDC also continues to recommend the medication.
I want to give you a live look now at RDU International. Today, the airport is inviting people like you to join the discussion on a possible recreation destination in what's now Lake Crabtree Park. Airport officials say it could include retail stores, water activities, and activities for the whole family. Today's meeting will give people a chance to learn more about the project. It's being held at the Laurel Hills Community Center starting at 4 this evening and will run until 7 p.m.
The Carolina Hurricanes are back in action for the first time since May. The Canes took on the Tampa Bay Lightning at Lenovo Center last night in the team's first preseason game of the year. The Canes made it close late, but dropped the game 2-1. The Canes play again tomorrow night at home against the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. The regular season begins on October 9th. The Canes will play the New Jersey Devils at Lenovo Center. A tight game for Monday Night Football. The Detroit Lions and Baltimore Ravens entered the fourth quarter tied 21 apiece. The Lions exploded for 17 points in the fourth, and the Ravens could not keep up. Lions got the win 38-30.
Well, today, people in Johnston County can get help with the IDs for the upcoming elections. Today is the third in a series of voter photo ID events. Workers from the County Board of Elections will be issuing IDs to voters who need them. Today's event will be at the Smithfield Library from 10 o'clock this morning until noon. The next one is scheduled for Friday at the Kenley Library. Future of Planned Parenthood. Some state lawmakers want to ban the organization as a Medicaid provider. The reason behind the push and the pushback from Planned Parenthood itself.
Cutting wait times. State lawmakers say they have plans to speed things up at the DMV. The changes that could be on the way.
And it's a nice, comfortable morning, but that won't last. Highs will climb into the 90s this afternoon, which is unusual for this time of year, but I'll show you why we'll see several of these days in a row. 8:13, and it's a lovely start this morning. We're looking at mainly clear skies here in Sanford. We do have just some high, thin cloud cover out there. There's a system that's back over the mountains that's going to send us some clouds later this afternoon, and there may be a few showers. We're going to walk through that coming up in actually just about 5 or 10 minutes, but none of that rain looks like it reaches us today. Later in the week is another story. It's 59 in Roxborough, 64 in Fayetteville, 61 in Cary. It's been a fairly slow warm-up this morning. As a matter of fact, we don't even hit the 80s until right around lunchtime, so a nice morning to start with, but very quickly we jump into the upper 80s to around 90. The big change, the big difference that we'll see compared to summertime is our humidity will be nice and low today, and that will make it feel a little bit more comfortable. Ken?
Elizabeth, those I-87 lanes southbound coming in from Nightdale has cleared up, but boy, it's switched over to the northern loop of the Beltline. This is I-440 and New Bern Avenue. You can see the bumper-to-bumper traffic. Now, in terms of what you're thinking about and what the delay you're looking at a 19-minute delay once you come off I-87 and you get onto that northern loop of the Beltline. So depending on where you're headed this morning, you might want to take the southern loop of the Beltline. That you might run into less traffic in that area, because even though you're seeing a little bit of congestion there, at least that traffic is moving. You're looking at an 8-minute delay if you're coming in on US 1, Capitol Boulevard, if you will. And boy, look at this, 14 minutes on US 1 if you're coming in from Apex. So keep that in mind if you're about to head out the door this morning. 101.5 HD3 will keep you updated.
Some state lawmakers are pushing to end Planned Parenthood's status as a Medicaid provider. The group offers a range of services related to reproductive health, including cancer screening, infection testing, and abortions. It has become a target of people who oppose abortion. But state funding does not pay for abortion services. Republican lawmakers say they want to end Planned Parenthood's Medicaid contract anyway because they say they don't trust the organization. Planned Parenthood pushed back during a legislative meeting yesterday.
The reason that I don't think that Planned Parenthood should be providing these services is because I think that they indoctrinate.
Cancers will go undetected, STIs will go untreated, and people will not be able to get the birth control they need to plan their families and their futures.
Lawmakers could send the bill to Governor Josh Stein's desk as early as this week.
Also, when state lawmakers are eyeing new changes to speed up lines at the DMV, WRAL has reported extensively on problems with long wait times and slow service at the Department of Motor Vehicles. Well, the state Senate voted unanimously to approve new fixes. That includes letting more people renew their driver's licenses online without needing to go in person. It would also allow teenagers to get provisional licenses more easily without needing to log a certain number of hours. The bill now goes to the State House.
7 teens are accused of attacking a staff member in their attempt to escape a Raleigh mental health facility. According to Holly Hill Hospital CEO, the teens attacked a staff member to get their keys and then kicked their way through a door to get out. 4 staff members were hurt. This is at least the 3rd escape from Holly Hill in the last 3 years. We've connected with dozens of current and former employees, patients, and parents, including Kristen Chavez Anthony. She says she's not surprised by this latest escape.
I saw it this morning when I first woke up, and honestly not shocked. It's unfortunate that, it seems protocols haven't changed. There hasn't been any reinforcement or anything for, their staff, anything like that. So it was sad, but not surprising.
WRAL Investigates sent several questions to Holly Hill CEO Lee Holston. She didn't answer those questions specifically, but shared that the hospital implemented enhanced security measures after the escapes.
The family of a North Carolina meteorologist who died in a helicopter crash will get $50 million in a wrongful death settlement. Jason Myers and his pilot died back in 2022 when their helicopter crashed along I-77 in Charlotte. The National Transportation Safety Board report found the crash was likely caused by inadequate inspections. Myers' family released a statement saying the money won't bring him back, but it will at least acknowledge the impact of his death.
Turning Point USA is resuming its American Comeback Tour nearly 2 weeks after the assassination of co-founder Charlie Kirk. The tour made a stop last night at the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis. There was heightened security there. A group of protesters that gathered nearby accused the organization of being divisive. Conservative commentator Michael Knowles was the lead speaker. Kirk had been scheduled to appear at the event. UNC Wilmington is postponing all freedom of expression events. The restrictions come after students painted over a tribute to Charlie Kirk on the campus's Spirit Rock. The university says this is part of comprehensive measures over concerns about safety. There is increased security on campus at UNCW this week after a false threat about a gunman last Thursday. The city of Fayetteville will reveal a monument this week to honor its first female mayor. It's the newest honor for Beth Finch. The monument will go downtown in the park named after her. She is also the first woman to serve on Fayetteville City Council. And she was also the first woman to serve as mayor of a major city in North Carolina. Leaders credit her with improving Fayetteville's transit system and improving the ties between the city and Fort Bragg. Finch died in 2012. Hurricane Helene was North Carolina's most damaging storm. Now WRAL marks 1 year since the disaster with a new documentary focusing on families and communities changed forever. Helene caused $60 billion in damages from catastrophic flooding and mudslides. Our WRAL documentary team investigates the impact the delays in funding from the federal government is having on communities.
To receive billion-dollar increments for a $60 billion disaster, that's going to take a long time if we keep going at this pace.
The lawmakers have a pot of money that they haven't let go of. So there you go. That should be distributed to the people.
The documentary includes exclusive interviews with families still grieving and business owners trying to recover. Helene, What We Lost, What We Found airs this Thursday on WRAL TV and streams on WRAL.com, the WRAL News app, and WRAL's YouTube channel.
All right, let's turn our attention to the forecast right now. It's supposed to be fall, but summer did not get that memo, apparently, Elizabeth. But things are going to warm up later on.
Yeah, summer said, hey, wait, just a minute, or maybe 3 days, 3 more days of highs in the 90s. This is a look at downtown Raleigh, where it looks beautiful. Lots and lots of sunshine. We do have some high, thin cloud cover out there. This is a look from our Jimmy V camera down Fayetteville Street, and temperatures are in the low 60s, so it's nice and comfortable. We will have a disturbance that is going to be across the mountains moving our way. This is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Notice how the clouds begin to build a little bit for us around the evening commute, but the rain just stops to the west. It doesn't look like we're going to see any rain from that system. That one fizzles out, and we're waiting on a stronger front that arrives here on Thursday. This one has a much better chance of bringing us some rain. Ahead of this front, our flow is out of the southwest, so that's bringing the heat that we'll see today, tomorrow, and Thursday. High pressure keeps things pretty dry for us today, but you can see that rain that's in the mountains. Again, that's going to sneak eastward, but not as far east as our area. Here's a look at our Thursday front. It has been producing some severe storms. Those have quieted down for now, but we may see that on Thursday. This is Thursday morning, where we are dry, but by the time we get into the afternoon, we'll push it ahead and pause there at about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and you could see some showers and thunderstorms. It may rain all night Thursday night into Friday morning, and then for much of the day on Friday as well. You can see it raining there at 5 o'clock. So Friday's going to bring us a chance of some flooding, and then Saturday, just really up in the air. Here's Saturday at 6 a.m. This is a newer lower run of the model, which is a much wetter run. We may have a tropical system that brushes by and at least sends us some tropical moisture. Whether or not it develops into a tropical system or not, it's a little bit too early to tell. But Saturday's trending wetter for us. Our severe threat on Thursday is a level 1 risk for damaging winds. 30% chance Thursday, 60 Friday. With that new run of the model, we may have to bump Saturday up just a little bit. Right now, looking at anywhere from 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches of rain across our area, which is much needed. And again, that low risk for some flooding Friday and Saturday. Between now and then, looking at high temperatures at around 90 degrees, but I'll show you why it won't really feel like the middle of July coming up. Ken?
Hi, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Boy, that northern loop of the Beltline, a real trouble spot right now. You can see the bumper-to-bumper traffic, as you can see from I-440 and New Bern Avenue. This is what you're going to encounter once you come off those I-87 lanes, because right now you're looking at a 17-minute delay once you come off those I-87 southbound lanes. So an alternate route, maybe I-540 maybe, or even the southern loop of the Beltline. Things have definitely eased up on the to the east of Raleigh and those I-87 southbound lanes around Smithfield Road, because one time this was like bumper-to-bumper traffic and even a double-digit delay, but not so much right now. So those southbound lanes looking really good. You're looking at a 3-minute delay if you're coming in from Nightdale this morning, just a 6-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest.
Ken, thank you. Reshaping waterways. A major settlement could change how developers build in sensitive areas, how this affects water sources in the Triangle. And new testing reveals lead found in popular tea drinks. 5 on Your Side explains the results and what actions you can take.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
It is 8:26. I'm Renee Chu. We have a beautiful day ahead, and we're already off to a really nice start. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tracks the temperatures for us.
It's a pretty one out there. We take a live look from our Jimmy V camera down Fayetteville Street. Pretty quiet out there. Nobody walking around. Lots of sun, some high thin clouds, and comfortable temperatures. Roxboro's at 59, 64 in Fayetteville, 62 Garner, and in Cary. So it's a nice start out there. We don't even hit the 80s until lunchtime. So if you have some exercise in your plan this morning, it looks fine. This afternoon we'll climb to 90, but our humidity stays low. Ken?
Oh, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Boy, that northern loop of the Beltline, a real mess right now. As you look live at I-440 and New Bern Avenue, you can see the bumper-to-bumper traffic this morning. So in terms of your commute, depending on where you're coming from, I would use I-540 as an alternate route, even that southern loop of the Beltline, because right now you're looking at a 23-minute delay between I-87 and Wade Avenue, just to be on the safe side.
Today, state lawmakers will vote on a crime bill. This comes after Irina Zaruska was stabbed to death in Charlotte. Senator Phil Berger added a last-minute amendment to bring back the death penalty. Many Democrats protested, saying it is politicizing Zaruska's death. Crews cleaned up a car crash on train tracks in Raleigh this morning. Video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker shows the scene on Noel Road near Hillsborough Street. Police say no one was seriously hurt and no train was involved. Next on Fox 50, the new recreation destination RDU is planning out by the airport. And ahead on Today, Clea Scherer stops by to talk about her new book, Cancer is Complicated.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
And a nice start to the morning with temperatures in the 60s. We'll climb to 90 this afternoon. I'll show you why it'll be a little more comfortable than it would be in July.
Plus, death penalty debate. You're looking live at the state legislative building in Raleigh. Today, lawmakers are expected to vote on bringing back capital punishment. What's driving the new push?
And recreation destination. RDU plans to transform a piece of land near Lake Crabtree. How you can share your opinion on the project today. Thanks so much for joining us here at 8:30. I'm Ken Smith.
And I'm Renee Chu. We're glad that we are your destination for news, weather, and traffic. It is going to be a beautiful day. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. It's also going to be a hot one.
It is, boys. Nice this morning. We take a live look at downtown Raleigh. Mostly sunny, just a few high, thin clouds. Our temperature, a comfortable 62. And our dew point, also a comfortable 60. That's the measure of moisture in the atmosphere. 60 will make it feel just fine. If the dew point were at 70, it would feel heavy and sticky, but 60 won't. And so it'll feel more comfortable than it could feel in July when we see all that humidity in our area. Temperatures range from the upper 50s to mid 60s heading out the door this morning. We stay in the 60s and 70s all the way up until lunchtime, and then we warm quickly to around 90 degrees. We also have active conditions in the tropics. I'll show you 3 different systems that we're tracking coming up, Ken.
Hi, Elizabeth. Here at 8:30, we got a real troubled spot in that northern loop of the Beltline. This is what we're talking about. This I-440 and New Bern Avenue, coming off those I-87 lanes. You're looking at bumper-to-bumper traffic. Here's what you're looking at. You're looking at almost a 30-minute delay between I-87 and Wade Avenue this morning. So depending on where you're coming from, you might want to take that southern loop of the Beltline, or if you're coming in from Zebulon, Nightdale, you might want to take I-540 as an alternate route. Here's what we're looking at. You're looking at a 2-minute delay coming in from Nightdale. You're looking at a 6-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest and US 1 Capitol Boulevard. Over in Durham, really the troubled spot is I-885 this morning. You're going into Durham. That backup starts around TW Alexander Drive. You're looking at a 9-minute delay. If you're using 885 to get to I-40 this morning, you're looking at an 8-minute delay. Other routes into Durham, really and truly, you're looking at a 7-minute delay if you're using Highway 98 to come into Durham out of Wake Forest. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio. We'll keep you updated all morning long. 101.5 HD3.
Dozens of people gathered in Charlotte last night to remember Irina Zaruska. Yesterday marked 1 month since the 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee was stabbed to death on a Charlotte light rail. In response, the state house is expected to pass a bill to bring back the death penalty. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live in Raleigh this morning. And Kelsey, this is one of several proposals up for discussion today.
Yes, Renee, it is. The House will take up several bills this morning, including that one that you just mentioned. Now, Senate leaders met here at the Legislative Building yesterday, where an unexpected amendment to that bill was introduced. Lawmakers are calling this Irina's Law. It would make it easier for judges to keep suspects in jail or put them in the hospital if they have a history of criminal behavior or mental illness. Just before yesterday's Senate session ended, Senator Phil Berger made a last-minute amendment to the bill, calling to restart the death penalty in North Carolina. Nearly every Democrat walked out of the session in protest of what they say was politicizing Irina Zaruska's death. We technically already have the death penalty in our state, but it has not been used since 2006. WRAL state government reporter Will Doran explains what this amendment means.
What this change does is it says, okay, Governor Stein, your administration, the prison system needs to figure out a way that we can restart executions, whether that's using firing squads, the electric chair, some other method. Tell us what we can do to actually get executions restarted.
Our NC Capitol team will be sure to keep you updated as we follow the bill this morning. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Well, another bill that would earmark $100 million in state funding for disaster relief and stadium development plans also sits with the State House. But will it pass the chamber today? The mini budget approved Monday by the Senate is highly likely to face opposition in the State House. Republican leaders in the House and Senate are at odds over budget details that could affect the plan that the Senate passed unanimously. It would provide $65 million for aid in the wake of Hurricane Helene in western North Carolina and Tropical Storm Chantal, which hit central North Carolina back in July. It also proposes $35 million for new development at the Lenovo Center in Raleigh, among other projects. You can find more details on all those proposals on our website at WRAL.com.
More charges could be on the way for a teenager charged in connection to the death of another teen in a crash. This happened in Apex along US 64 near Shepherd's Vineyard Drive Sunday night. Police say a driver was speeding, veered off the road, went airborne, and rolled into a ditch. The 16-year-old passenger died at the scene. The 17-year-old driver was taken to the hospital. Apex police say he did not have a license. He is charged with misdemeanor death by motor vehicle.
This morning, we're working to learn the name of a man whose body was pulled from a Wake County pond. Sky 5 flew over the scene off Hodge Road near Wendell yesterday afternoon. Deputies were called to the area to check on a man who lives nearby. Deputies found the man's body after a 2.5-hour search.
Tributes are pouring in for former Appalachian State football coach Sean Clark. He died Sunday at the age of 50. He was serving as the offensive line coach at the University of Central Florida this season. Clark was the Mountaineers' head coach from 2020 to 24. He led the team to an upset victory over Texas A&M in 2022. NC State head coach Dave Doran took a few moments to honor Clark yesterday.
Sean was a great coach. He's a better man and a good friend, a man that loved his family, his players, and he loved the game and the brotherhood.
Clark held other coaching roles at App State dating back to the 2016 season. He was an offensive lineman for the Mountaineers from 1994 to 98.
Happening today, RDU is inviting you to learn more about plans to redevelop part of Lake Crabtree Park. The airport is looking to turn the 136 acres into what it calls a recreation destination. WRAL's Ali Kadlabar live near Lake Crabtree Park this morning. And Ali, this is a plan that has drawn a lot of concern from people who use that park.
And Ken, I want to give you a representation of why there's a concern here. Here's a map. And you can see that divide here. That dark part is the other side of the park, which is 136 acres of what this new recreation destination will be. And today, people are going to be able to voice their concerns and input on these future plans. And here's a look at what people are going to see at tonight's meeting. It's the second of 3 meetings, and they're going to see renderings of the project, which include retail spaces, restaurants, dining, as well as even zip lines. People can give feedback and ask questions. Now, WRAL has covered this property extensively. About 3 months ago, people used this 136 acres for biking and walking trails. Wake County leased it from RDU, and RDU says new federal requirements caused the lease price to go up. The lease ended, and that part of the park closed in June, and I want to show you guys kind of a representation. Wake County still is leasing about 70 acres of this property. The dark part is what is up for that new recreation destination. And so today, that meeting is between 4 and 7 p.m. at Laurel Community Center. Reporting live in Morrisville, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
Today, you can get vaccines for your child in Wake County. The county's public health department is holding a back-to-school clinic to make sure children are up to date. It's happening today from 5:30 to 7:30 at Western Health and Human Services Center in Cary. There will be another one at the Wake County Public Health Center on Saturday from 9 to 2. You are asked to bring your child's vaccination records and insurance card along with your photo ID.
And in Cumberland County, today is the last chance for families to take advantage of free vaccine clinics run by the school district. The clinics are for 7th and 12th graders who need state-required vaccines before a state deadline. Today's event is at Grays Creek High School starting at 4 this afternoon. It will run until 7 p.m. Parents and students are invited to explore magnet school options in Wake County at the East Wake Magnet Fair. They can visit Wake Tech Community College East Campus in Wendell from 5 to 7 this evening. The fair will feature 5 magnet schools. There will be information sessions on each school and a discussion panel with current magnet families.
In Durham, a major legal settlement could reshape how developers build near sensitive waterways. Sound Rivers and the Southern Environmental Law sued Center Clayton Properties Group, known as Mungo Homes. They accused the company of violating the Clean Water Act more than 300 times at the Sweetbriar site. Water samples downstream showed sediment up to 20 times higher than state standards, turning Martin Branch and Hurricane Creek bright orange before flowing into Lick Creek and Falls Lake, a drinking water source for Raleigh.
The outcome of the settlement is to raise the bar for other developers who are potentially cutting corners and disregarding environmental regulations and saying this is unacceptable. We have a higher standard for development that requires protection of water quality.
The settlement requires Mungo Homes to stabilize exposed soils and install stronger erosion controls at the site off Olive Branch Road. The company will also pay $30,000 in fines and $270,000 to help Triangle Land Conservancy buy and protect 62 acres in the watershed.
Happening today, the city of Durham and the state DOT are looking at ways to improve pedestrian safety. A public open house is happening from 6 this evening until 7:30 and will focus on plans to slow traffic and improve safety on Duke Street, Gregson Street, and Vickers Avenue. The event will be held at Walltown Recreation Center on West Club Boulevard. Still ahead, lead concerns. New testing shows how much lead was found in the popular tea drinks. 5 on your side has the results and the action experts recommend.
Plus, losing sleep. Your teens may be getting less rest because of social media. The impacts that screen use can have on their sleep patterns.
And heating up, you're looking live at Pinehurst this morning. Not very many people out on the links, but we're starting to cool this morning, but we are expected to skyrocket into the 90s later today. Ahead meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner times out the warm-up and when we could see more rain in our forecast this week.
It's a nice one out there right now. It is 8:45, 62 in Wilson and in Durham at 64 in Fayetteville. Temperatures haven't warmed up too much over the last couple of hours, and so temperatures are not going to be that hot by lunchtime. So it still should be nice to spend your lunch hour outside, just 81 at noon, and the humidity will be low today. So we are going to see a hot afternoon. Temperatures climb to around 90 by the middle of the afternoon. With low humidity, it won't feel exactly like a July day. It will still be hot, but it'll be what they call a dry heat, right? We'll be dry. We'll see some increasing clouds in the afternoon. Well to our west, there may be some showers. Our next best chance of rain comes Thursday and into the weekend. We'll take a look at the timeline coming up. Ken?
All right, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Boy, that northern loop of the Beltline, a real troubled spot this morning. Bumper-to-bumper traffic from I-440 on New Bern Avenue. This is what happens as you come off of I-87 and you take that northern loop of the Beltline, just bumper-to-bumper traffic. You see it right here. You're looking at a 21-minute delay between I-87 and Wade Avenue. So I would recommend taking the southern loop of the Beltline. Really, depending on where you're coming from, you're just looking at a 6-minute delay at this point.
Thanks, Ken. Bubble tea or boba has become a favorite, especially with young people. But 5 on your side's Ashley Rowe has new safety tests from Consumer Reports that show the popular drink may come with a hidden serious concern: lead.
Once a niche Taiwanese treat, bubble tea is now widely available and growing in popularity. And the star of the show, these tapioca boba pearls made from cassava.
Cassava is a root vegetable known to absorb lead and other heavy metals from soil. And because of that, we wanted to see how much lead and other heavy metals these drinks and pearls might contain.
Consumer Reports tested pearls from 2 major chains, Gongcha and Kung Fu Tea, along with packaged boba from Trader Joe's and Wu Fu Yan. The results were clear. Every single sample contained lead.
While these levels weren't so high we'd tell people to completely avoid bubble tea, the fact that we detected lead in all 4 products is a good reason to treat it as an occasional treat and not an everyday staple.
Trader Joe's told CR that it has discontinued its instant boba kit. Wu Fu Yan's parent company said, "We take the safety of our products very seriously, and your outreach has prompted us to further improve our existing quality control measures." Kung Fu Tea and Gongcha did not reply to CR's request for comment. You can't completely avoid lead, but you should avoid consuming it when you can to minimize health risks, especially children and pregnant women. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
Nighttime social media scrolling could be making it harder for your teenager to sleep. That's what researchers at the University of San Francisco found after studying teens' cognitive development. It showed nightly screen time could lead to shorter sleep and more sleep disturbances. They say parents should learn more about screen use and make clear the rules on phones in the bedroom. Tom Holland's onset injury and an all-star replacement at the Dawson's Creek reunion.
Yeah, here's a look at what's trending this morning. Actor Tom Holland taking a break from filming the newest Spider-Man movie. Sources say he suffered a minor concussion on set. He was not hospitalized, but is stepping away from the production for now.
Work is expected to resume for Spider-Man Brand New Day in the next few days. Yeah. Hope he feels better soon. Well, the show must go on. James Vanderbeek was forced to step aside ahead of last night's charity script reading for the hit show Dawson's Creek. The actor posted on Instagram he had to cancel due to illness. He did appear virtually, however, to introduce his replacement. That would be Lin-Manuel Miranda.
How about that as a replacement, right? That script reading was to raise money for a nonprofit that fights cancer. Of course, we all remember that he mentioned last year that he's fighting stage 3 colorectal cancer, so we wish him well as well.
Yeah, he did make that virtual appearance for a little bit.
That was good. Well, Duke women's basketball coach Carol Lawson will lead the U.S. women's basketball team for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. Lawson is a former WNBA star and 3-time Olympic champion. WRAL's Lena Tillett sat down with Lawson earlier this year. Lawson says this is something she's worked toward for a long time.
And this week, U.S. Olympian Katie Ledecky will give the fall convocation address at Elon University. That will be Friday at 3:30 p.m. The school announced the news on social media. Ledecky, as you know, is the most decorated female swimmer in history. She has a total of 14 Olympic medals, including 9 gold ones.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, this is pretty scary. Tennis great Rafael Nadal saying he is warning about fake online videos of him offering financial advice and the risks of AI. The retired tennis star said he has never endorsed any of the online videos or their messages. He actually took to LinkedIn, writing, "My team detected fake videos circulating on some platforms. They were generated with AI showing a figure that imitates my image and voice. I am falsely attributed with investment advice or proposals that in no case come from me."
Right. If you've seen some of those AI-generated videos, it's incredible how much they look like the person they're trying to depict. So let's turn our attention now to the forecast and check in with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. And boy, the tropics have gotten really active lately.
It is that time. Of course, we're heading toward the end of September, starting to see the tail end of the peak of the season, but still lots going on. We've been talking about Gabrielle. Gabrielle's Category 4 right now, but moving away from land and is no threat at this point. So what is new this morning is this system that's approaching the Caribbean islands is now up to a 60% chance of developing. That's up from a 30% chance this time yesterday. And this one's up to a 90% chance. That's the one that's out in the middle of the Atlantic. Let's talk about what we could see, especially the one that's approaching the Bahamas. That could help to feed some tropical moisture up into our area over the weekend. Not that it will necessarily become a tropical system at this point. I don't find any computer models that show a tropical storm making landfall in North Carolina, but it just may add to the moisture that we're already going to see. There's going to be a front in place there that's stalled, and we'll be watching to see how that plays out for the weekend. Wow, Gabrielle has this well-defined eye. It has winds at 140 miles per hour, but it's moving northeast at 13. It's 300 miles from Bermuda, which is here. So no more threats to Bermuda. It is going to head directly across the Atlantic and toward Bermuda and toward Europe, and potentially could bring some stormy conditions there if it holds together. So that happens occasionally, but not very often. Downtown Durham showing some high thin clouds right now, 62 degrees, a dew point of 60. So it feels comfortable. Our dew point is nice and low with a high of 90. If our dew point stays at 60, it'll feel okay out there. Temperatures are right now in the low to mid 60s, 62 in Holly Springs, 63 in Cary and in Knightdale. And of course, we're looking at warmer than normal temperatures for today, about 10 degrees warmer than normal. That sticks around ahead of our front, feeling like summer, but we'll start to feel a little bit more like fall as we get into the weekend. But a lot of that's because of rain. Temperatures in the low to mid 90s this afternoon, 90 Durham and Raleigh, 93 in Fayetteville. We're in the 90s up until Thursday. And then it starts to cool off on Friday and Saturday with that chance for some thunderstorms. Thursday, we could see a small chance for severe storms, and we also have a small risk for flooding on Friday and Saturday.
Before we go to break, here's a look at the winning lottery numbers, and we'll get another check on weather and traffic next.